Okay. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Now in front of us here we have Victoria. And what is Victoria holding?
A mirror.
A mirror. Now what's the purpose of a mirror? What do we use?
To look at reflection.
To look at our reflection, yes? Alright. Now when you look at your reflection, are you seeing somebody totally different?
No.
You're seeing the same person, the same. And what is it about yourself? Are you seeing yourself in the same position, at the same place? Yes. Alright. Now, in terms of when you look in the mirror, you can see some of the students here, right? Yes? Can you? Now, only like when you look into the mirror, are you seeing Miss Smets first?
Yes.
Are you seeing Miss Smets first?
I don't see anything. I just see Kelsey.
Are you seeing Miss Smets first?
No.
Who are you seeing first? You're seeing Alexi.
I say Kelsey.
So it means, okay, when we look at our reflection, whatever part of us, or whatever person, or whatever thing is first, closest to the mirror, you will see that first in the reflection. Isn't that so? Yes. And then whatever comes next, you will see that in the reflection and so on. Right? So the position of the thing doesn't change. It's just that you're seeing it on a different side. Right? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Now, let's consider the reflection in terms of mathematics. We have a set of numbers called whole numbers. Right? What are whole numbers? Numbers that start from
0.
Alright. Let's consider a ruler. A ruler starts at 0, right? Now, what do you know about a ruler in terms of the number placements? They are? It's divided into equal spaces. Yes. They're the same distance away from each other. Just like when you look in your reflection, you see that whatever position you are, you're the same distance. If you look in the mirror, you're the same distance away from that in the reflection. Isn't that so?
Yes.
Right. Thank you, Victoria. Sit forward. Alright. Now we're going to look at whole numbers, first of all. And we said that whole numbers start from
0.
Alright. Now what I'm drawing we call a number line, yes? And we're going to start our number line at 0. Now what do we know about a number line in terms of how the numbers are placed? As we go to the right, what happens?
It gets
It
bigger.
increases. Right. So we have the same distance away from each other. And all these are what? What type of numbers?
Whole numbers.
All these are whole numbers. Let's consider numbers up to 10. Alright. So we have the whole numbers 0 to 10. Right? Now, if we consider this in terms of the activity we just did, the same way we have a reflection in the mirror, we have a number that is actually what we would call a mirror in terms of numbers. Now, the mirror in this case would be 0. Right? So we call this our mirror. Now, there are a set of numbers that are reflections of the whole numbers, or these positive numbers that you have here. Right? Now, what do we know about a reflection? Whatever comes first will come first. Whatever comes second will come second, and so on. Now, how are we going to differentiate now between the two sets of numbers? We call whatever we see in the mirror an image, right? It's an image of you. So all of these numbers will have their images. Now we're going to differentiate between the real ones and the images with the use of a sign. So let's extend this. The images are going to be on the other side of the mirror, right? So on the other side of the mirror. Which number should start here?
1.
It should be 1. Why 1? Because remember, when you look in the mirror, the closest thing to the mirror, you will see it first, right? So we start at 1. Now we're going to put this sign to show think it's an image of 1. Then after negative 1 will come
Negative 2.
Then
Negative 3.
Then
Negative 4. Negative 5. Negative 6. Negative 7. Negative 8. Negative 9. Negative 10.
Alright, let's stop at that for now. Another thing about whole numbers. What do you know about whole numbers? They don't stop. They're infinite. They go on and on and on. Now if we consider it in terms of their images, it would also mean that the images would do what? Go on and on and on. Now at first we said that as we go to the right, what happens to the numbers? It increases. So if we go to the left, what happens? It decreases. It means therefore that the negative numbers, as we call them, those with the minus sign in front of them are called negative numbers. The negative numbers would be what?
Worth less.
They would be worth less than the positive numbers. Because remember, the further left we go, the numbers are getting smaller. Alright. So 0 is our mirror. And since 0 is our mirror, it means that 0 is neither negative nor positive. Because say for example, we have 5 days. Or I borrow $5 from Alexi, right? And I pay her back $5. What do I owe her? Did I say I owe her negative 0 or positive 0? No. I owe her nothing. So 0 is neither negative nor positive. So it's like the midway between the negatives and the positives. Alright, so we call it the mirror. So to the right of 0, we have the positive numbers. Positive numbers. And to the left of 0, we have the negative. So what's the difference between the negatives and the positives?
They're less.
They're less than the positives. What else? How can we
They
know
go back. They have
one different from the other?
With the minus sign.
The negatives, they have a minus sign in front of them. Alright? So we have the positives and we have the negatives. Now let's think of them in terms of a comparison. If I said to you, which of these is greater? Is it 5 or is it 6? Which of these would be greater? 6. 6 is bigger. Now why is 6 bigger? Because of course if you look on your line, you will see that 6 is further to the right. Which direction? It's further to the right. And remember, the further right we go, what happens to the number? Now, when you were in primary school, you learned the greater than and the less than sign. Yes?
Yes.
So we have the two signs. We have this one and this one. Right? Now, which one is the greater than sign?
The one on the left.
Side. Who wants to come and tell me which is which? Come here. This is which one? Greater. That's greater. Can somebody explain to her what's the difference? Well, how do we show that one is greater and one is less than?
Because the open mouth is greater and
Well, then it's based on where the number is. The opening, as she said, is turned to the greater number. Yes?
yes.
So it's based on where the number is, you decide whether, in this case, you would say that this is the greater than sign.
Yes.
Right? Because the opening is turned in this direction. In this case, this would be the
Less than.
But at this stage, we don't really have to worry too much about the greater than and the less than. It's just that we know that the opening, the mouth, is always turned to which number?
greater.
The bigger number. Yes? So if we have 5 and we have 6, it means the opening should be turned to 6. If we should read this, then we would say what?
5 is less than 6.
signs themselves, the opening is always turned to the larger number. Alright, let's compare when we have some negatives. Now by looking at the negatives, remember we said the further left we go, what happens to the numbers?
It decreases.
It decreases, right? So since it decreases, what do you notice happens to the numbers? We started at -1, we ended here at -10. What can you see? What do you notice?
In the negative numbers, the greater the number after the negative, the less value.
That's it exactly. The greater or the bigger the number is, like 10, the less it is. Because remember, the further left we go, the smaller the number is getting. So the bigger the negative, what happens? The smaller it is. So if we have -1 million,
That's really small.
right? And we have -50.
-50.
That would be bigger.
Negative
50. Because -50 would be closer to the positive numbers. So the further away from the positive numbers you go, the smaller the number is getting. Right?
Yeah.
You understand that?
Yes.
Yeah. Alright. Say we have -8, we have -6, we have 5, -2, and -3. Now we have a set of numbers here. And say we want to order them, yes? Put them in a certain order. We're starting from the smallest number and we're going to go to the greatest number. Yes. Which one will go first? We're going from smallest to largest.
The first one would be -8,
-8,
then -6,
-6,
-3,
-3,
-2,
-2,
and then 5.
and then 5. So remember, the larger the negative, the smaller